As a middle-aged suburban white guy, I can assure you, I know a thing or two about bling. Hello friendos, this is Chain, welcoming you back to Chain of Commander. Now, as some of my viewers might know, at least those who follow me on Reddit, I am one of those madmen decided to completely go all out in foiling one of his commander decks. So, honest to gosh, I actually do know a thing or two about shiny cardboard. Obviously, shiny cardboard does come down to taste, but Commander Legends has given us a variety of new bling that we can play with. So I figure we could go over some of the great additions to the bling community that this set has given us. Now, before we get into it, I do ask, if you like seeing shiny cardboard, hit that subscribe button. I will show you shiny cardboard. If you like shiny cardboard, hit that like button. I like shiny cardboard. If you want to buy shiny cardboard, then use that TCG Player affiliate link. Won't cost you a single cent more. It will help out the channel, and your deck gets a nice visual aesthetic upgrade. Yeah! All that said, let's go over what we got here. And the first card I want to talk about is actually the youngest card on our list. This card was just introduced at the tail end of last year in the Throne of Eldraine Precons, and that is Arcane Signet. And despite it being the newest card on this list, it very quickly got a very, very heavy following in the Commander community because A, it is amazingly cost-efficient ramp, and B, it's amazingly cost-efficient fixing on ramp. So, very quickly became one of the most popular cards, and those brawl decks were just selling off the shelves super overpriced just so people can get their hands on this Arcane Signet. Now, eventually, Wizards added them to other precons that they printed, like the ones from earlier this year for Mycoria, but it was still pushing $4 to $5 for a non-foil version of a Mana Rock. But Wizards then printed this card into this set, and now that it was coming in packs, you had the chance to get a pack foil of it, the first foiling of it. But Wizards did not stop there. They also made it available as one of the borderless cards through the collector's packs. So for those people out there who really wanted to step up the game, they could get a foil borderless version of an Arcane Signet to add to their deck. And you know, I'm one of those guys. My curve fix decks, my foil out decks, that borderless foil Arcane Signet came in, bopped out my Modern Masters 2 Simic Signet. It's out of here. We got this nice, pretty, better Mana Rock in this deck, and I am super pumped for it. And the next card I have for you is actually kind of similar. Now, not as new, but this is another 2-mana Mana Rock that had severe availability issues leading into this. I think it was printed in one Commander Precon and one Commander Anthology, and that was it until this year. Now, it has had 2 printings this year, but it didn't have a meaningful one until Commander Legends, and that is Thought Vessel. Thought Vessel is the one that just says add colorless to your mana pool, and you have no limited hand size. And before these reprints this year, this was reaching tens of dollars. It was like $10, $12 for a copy of Thought Vessel. They reprinted it in the mystery boosters. However, that didn't really affect the price too much because the mystery boosters, they had a weird rarity level where any individual card had a 1 out of 121 chance of being in a pack. So it wasn't a meaningful reprint. They were still pretty sparing throughout that set. But this set had normal rarity levels, and it was able to now get this Thought Vessel out there in the public and make its first available foil printing, which is what we're looking for in the bling community here. And the best thing about this, like I said earlier, this was pushing a $10, $12 card. A regular Thought Vessel now from this set is only $1. And the foils, the first ever foil printing of this card, is $2. And that feels like a great, great price to really step up the shininess and the glitteriness of your deck. If you are playing Thought Vessel and you were looking to upgrade that deck to be more blingy, now is the time to grab one because they're only going to go back up from here. The next one we have, this has a very similar story to Thought Vessel in the fact that it's been printed before. And this one even had foil printings before, but they were hard to come by, and that is Command Tower. Now, the 2 previous foil printings of Command Tower was as a Judge promo, which uses the traditional Command Tower art that everybody really knows and loves, and an old sealed product called the Commander Arsenal, where it did have different art, actually very pretty art, and problem was this Commander Arsenal, very limited supply. And this Commander Arsenal was actually loaded with some great stuff. It had a foil scroll rack in it, foil Sylvan Library, foil Soul Ring, a lot of foil staples for cards that we eventually really needed reprints of. But the Command Tower from that set was pushing, before this set was announced, was pushing $100 some odd. Because if you think about it, a limited sealed product and Judge promos, they're not necessarily known for dumping quantities of stock into the market. They are known for being very limited amounts and being really chase items. So getting your hands on a foil Command Tower, despite it being probably the most played land in all, let's say most played non-basic land in all of EDH, was almost impossible, with people spending well over $100 to get this before this reprint was announced. Luckily, this reprint was announced, and once again, it put it into the packs at a common, at rarities that at a rarity that made it easy to acquire and also get foils of. And very similar to the Arcane Signet, this one was also one that was blessed with the borderless variety. So you can get a borderless foil Command Tower for significantly cheaper than $100. So if you were finally looking to upgrade that mana base to a little bit more gleam and glisten, this could be an excellent time to take advantage of this. The next one I have a bit of a funny story on. I'll just get out of the way. It's 3 visits. And the reason why I have a bit of a funny story on it is that earlier this year, I decided to buy a 3 visits well before I knew that they were going to be reprinting it, before anybody knew that they were going to be reprinting it. I got it for a good price, and the original one still remains to be my favorite white bordered card that I own, possibly one of my favorite cards in my collection just because of the history, its inavailability, and the gorgeous art on it. In fact, at the time I purchased it, the existence of a 3 visits in general, which 3 visits is just a functional reprint of Nature's Lore. And before they were announcing the reprints, this thing was pushing $120, $130, $140. So just the existence of a Nature's Lore can be considered bling, or not Nature's Lore, just the existence of 3 visits can be considered bling just on its own. Doesn't even need the foiling or anything like that. But luckily, this set did bring it. And this was another one that got the foil borderless variety as well. And this art is equally gorgeous with the 3 different fairies from the 3 different planes swirling around on it. And they really pop on the foils, and they are absolutely gorgeous. Now, am I upset? Because if I was a bit more patient, I could have saved a whole bunch of money on the 3 visits. No, not at all. Like I said, this card still remains one of my favorite cards in my collection. It still exists as its own little bling because it is absolutely gorgeous. And now I'm happy because I can get more 3 visits for all my other decks without having to shell $60 up for a copy. So that's a pleasant little bonus there. And the last one I have here, it's essentially, it's the generous gift of the room. It's these etched foils that they were really pushing through this product. They are pretty. They are currently super cheap. And essentially, if you think back to the Theros set when they had the collector's boosters, the Constellation versions of all the cards ended up being cheaper than the regular pack foils because each collector's pack had some of the constellations in it, and that flooded the market with their availability. That's kind of the similar thing that's happening here with these etched foils. There are 3 of them in every collector's pack of Commander's Legends. So they are currently flooding the market right now, and you can get them dirt cheap. The Thrasios I picked up, that was like a $60, $70, $80 card before this reprint. I picked up the etched foil for $20. Again, I'm building a Gen deck. I bought this Gen online for $1. $1 for an etched foil, and let me tell you, the Gen art on these etched foil pops. It just pops so good. The pinks, the purples, the swirls around on his art just really shine. Listen, they look so nice. And the fact that they're dirt cheap right now is insane. There's even been a couple of commanders that really got a bonus because these are the first times they got printed in foil, and they got this etched printing as their first foil. So Zedru, any Zedru fans out there, this is the first time you can get your commander in foil. Marith, any Marith fans out there, same thing. You can now get your commander in foil, and not only just any foil, but this gorgeous etched printing that looks so clean and so completely different than any card that's ever been printed before. Now, like a lot of the concerns about the bling recently has been a little bit of the Pringles, the taco effect that these foiled cards have had, where they just curve right out of the pack. While existent on the pack foils and collector's foils, those curves are strictly non-existent on these etched foils. They just do the foiling through a completely separate process, and they look crisp, they look flat, they look absolutely gorgeous. And for right now, for how cheap they are, they're not going to stay this cheap forever. I'll just admit, I'm not a finance guy, so don't trust me on this one. Don't yell angry letters at my face when they don't go up. But if there ever was a time to pick up some of your favorite legends that have these etched printing versions of them, I would highly recommend doing it. They are absolutely gorgeous. You will not regret it. The risk to reward is virtually non-existent with how cheap most of these are, and they are just an excellent way to really spice up, especially if you can get one for one of your favorite commanders. These are excellent ways to really add that little bit of shine, that little bit of personality to your commander deck. Speaking about adding personality to commander decks, what if you had 2 new commander decks to add some personality to? Well, you can, because we are currently in the midst of my Season of Giving giveaway, where we will be giving away both of these Commander Legend pre-constructed EDH decks to one lucky winner out there. I had a video from earlier this month with all the details on it. This giveaway is worldwide, so I will put a link in the description below to that video so you can check it out and get your entry in. Beyond that, I want to hear from you folks. I want to know what you folks are most excited for when it comes to the bling, the shine, the gleam from this set, because I love to hear about people who make financial choices that involve shiny pieces of cardboard. Definitely let me know. Make me feel better about my own purchases. Thanks. Beyond that, thank you all for joining me today. I love having you hang out with me. I hope you guys take care. Adios.